Okay, this is episode 2 of There Just Has to Be a Better Way, and this episode is going to be about netbooks. I own several netbooks, specifically the Toshiba NB505, and nobody seems to like them. I like them, but out of the box, they need work. So let me explain what I did to mine to make it very useful. I took stuff from around the web because nothing is all in one place. Plus, I also went ahead and did some original research myself. So, anyway, this is what the netbooks commonly look like, with it closed, with it open. On the left-hand side, you've got a phone jack, or I'm sorry, Ethernet. You've got VGA out, and you've got a headphone and microphone and a USB 2. On the right side, you've got twin USB 2s. And here is the specs of what is actually on the thing. It's a 1.6 atom single core 250 gig hard drive. Now, one of the things that people always complain about with the netbook, that they can only just check their email and surf the internet, is because as they come from Toshiba or whoever happened to make yours, they are full of bloatware. If you notice the screen, you can see that the memory use is high, the processor is running very high. In fact, on my particular one, out of the box, you got, out of a 1,000 meg memory, 1 gig, you got 843 meg being used just sitting there, doing nothing. Nothing is open except the desktop. You also got 56% CPU usage, just sitting there running all the services that Microsoft puts in the Windows 7 starter, as well as all the stuff Toshiba throws in. Now, if you look at the next images here, you'll notice memory is down and there's practically no processor. I've got the memory down 666 meg, setting idle, and the CPU is 1%. So now, after I've done all the things that I'm going to explain, the system will actually respond to you when you're doing something, as opposed to it's all clogged up, and you can, if you're typing, you can get way ahead of the machine, and then it has to catch up. Well, when you have plenty of memory and no CPU usage, it will work like it was designed to work. Okay, so the list of the things that I did to make my netbook very useful is, first thing to do is you got to update the RAM from 1 gig to 2 gig. The early Toshiba NB505s came with DDR2. The later ones came with DDR3. If yours says D3 on the sticker on the bottom, you're going to need PC3-10600 memory. If yours says D2, you need PC2-6400 memory. The next thing I did was I upgraded the hard drive to a solid state drive. I got a Crucial MX500 250 gig hard drive, and I discovered that what Crucial gives you for, or what they recommend for, cloning software, I could not make it work. I ended up using Macrium Reflect. That worked perfectly. Then for a fast interface, I installed Classic Shell, and I set it for the XP interface because for me, old school, the XP interface is faster than Windows 7. And then because it has Windows 7 Starter, I installed Starter Background Changer so I could make some changes to the operating system. Then I installed Microsoft Office 2003 with the compatibility pack for Office 2007. Now I know it comes with a later version of Office, but 2003 is far faster than 2010, and with the compatibility pack you can read the DocX. Then for photo manipulation, I installed Photoshop 7.01. If you notice, all of these are early 2000 programs because your laptop is basically a 2004 laptop. So I wanted a light security suite, so I chose Microsoft Security Essentials. It's very light. It seems to work very well. For a browser, I needed a light browser. I installed Pale Moon, and then I configured it to look like Firefox 56.02 by turning on the menu bar, the navigation bar, and the status bar, moving the home button and the download progress button over to the far right. I installed Snagit so I can do screen captures. Now the next thing you got to do is you got to turn off all the Toshiba bloatware and all non-essential services. So you go to Start, Run, msconfig, Startup, and in this startup image you'll see the only stuff I have running. Then for services, you go to Start, Run, msconfig, Services, and here in the service image you can see the only stuff that I have running. And then if you look at the services local screen, that's just the services that I have running and their current state. All of this allows you to make use of the 1.6 Atom processor. Okay, now that I've shown you how to make a Toshiba NB505 netbook run very fast, the question arises, is it worth it? Does it actually make it run faster? So what I've got here is I've got 3 netbooks set up. The one on the left is a standard out-of-the-box NB505, 1 gig of DDR3 RAM. The one in the middle is it's been upgraded with a 2 gig stick of DDR3 RAM. The one on the right is upgraded with a 2 gig stick of DDR2 RAM. It's an older netbook. The early ones had DDR2, not 3. So yes, the memory isn't quite as fast. It also has a crucial 250 gig solid state hard drive, and it's got all the bells and whistles that I showed you earlier. So what we're going to do, going to take my stopwatch, and we're going to time a cold start and a hibernation start, and see how they work. So I'm going to stop timing when I have a desktop. Alright, so according to the stopwatch, the one on the right came up in 4807. The one in the middle came up at 49 even. And the one on the left came up at a minute 2.2. So marginally faster with the solid state drive over the disk drive. It appears that the memory is more important than anything. And if you notice, bring it down here, the drives, the disk drives are still whirling. They're still doing their thing. They still have a lot of services that have got to be turned off. And obviously the standard unit is much slower than the other two. Standard drive, standard memory. Okay, the lids were closed. They went into hibernation. Now we're going to time them coming out of hibernation. Okay, so what we've got is the standard unit came out at 19.33. Then the one on the right with everything, 23.11. And the one in the middle, 2506. So you can see again that the drive lights are still running because of all of they're not really up and ready to go yet because of all the services that they've got to handle. Where the one on the right, with all the services turned off, it's ready to go. So it appears that, from what I see, the processor is what's holding it back at reading the data off the drive, whether it's the faster solid state or the slower disk. You still have to get it put up on the screen. Okay, this is the netbook that's got all the bells and whistles. And if you wanted to, say, start up Word, there's Word that fast. Want to start up, say, Excel. There it is, just that fast. Office 2003 is very capable, and with the 2007 add-in, you can work with all the modern files. Here is Explorer. And how about Photoshop? This is Photoshop 7.01. This one will take a little bit longer, but it's still, it's quite fast. I don't consider it bad for the so-called lowly netbook. And if you want your browser, bring up Pale Moon. And there it is. So you can see it's with the modifications that I've recommended, it's not a slow machine. Everything is quite fast. So anyway, I hope that you take another look at netbooks, because they're not just for checking your emails the way everybody says they are, and that they're slow.